Hello and welcome to Clearview News. We are reaching you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. In the news, President Buhari departs Nigeria for private visit to the United Kingdom after commissioning projects in Borno State. House of Representatives to probe $27 billion oil revenue loss to international oil companies since 1999 to date. And former Vice President Joe Biden joins 2020 presidential race to face 19 others for Democratic nomination. I am Nten Ekpan with details of these stories and others. President Muhammadu Buhari has proceeded to the United Kingdom, UK, on a 10-day private visit after his official visit to Borno State on Thursday. Buhari was in Lagos on Wednesday, where he commissioned a number of projects executed by that state government as well as in Maiduguri. A statement by the presidential spokesman Femi Adesina on Thursday in Abuja said that Buhari is expected to commission developmental projects, especially in the sectors of education, healthcare and roads. At the end of the visit, President Buhari will proceed to the United Kingdom on a private visit. He is expected to return to Nigeria on May 5, 2019, and this will be the very first private visit the president will be embarking on after the election campaigns. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo on Thursday presided over the Federal Executive Council FEC meeting at the Presidential Villa, Abuja, as the deadline given to cabinet members for submission of handover notes expires. President Buhari had on April 17 asked for a comprehensive status report on policies, programs and projects from cabinet members on their respective ministries, departments and agencies. Buhari, who was on a visit to Borno on Thursday, departed for the UK later in the day. The deadline for the submission of the reports to the Presidential Audit Committee in the Office of the Vice President was April 24. The 9th and 10th FEC meetings were rescheduled for April 25 and May 2 respectively in view of the Easter break and May Day celebrations. And also, ministers were directed to ensure that all outstanding memoranda they intend to present to FEC are submitted to the Cabinet Affairs Office in the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation not later than April 30. No fewer than 21 ministers alongside the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, and the Head of Service of the Federation, Winifred Oyoita, were in attendance.
Posts. We have them in Lagos, Ogun, Sokoto, Katsina, Borno, Cross River. For the 16 medium control posts, we will have them in Oyo, Kwara, Kebbi, Niger, Katsina, Jigawa, Yobe, Borno, Adamawa, Taraba, Benue, Cross River and Akwa Ibom. Then we have some 64 mini control posts scattered around.
I think the cabinet is still intact. We are going to have the budget service on the 22nd of May. So you've seen it to suffer out small. You still see more of my face.
Minister of Information Lai Mohammed there. And moving on, Nigerian parents, guardians and caregivers have been told to avail themselves of this year's vaccination week to ensure that their children and wards are vaccinated. Executive Secretary, National Primary Care Development Agency, Dr. Faisal Shuaib, who renewed the plea this Thursday in Abuja, says the immunization remains the pathway to universal health coverage, as it is the cheapest and most effective life-saving health intervention to all children in human history. Speaking at the commencement of the vaccination week, which will end on Sunday, April 28, the Executive Secretary commended the patriotism and synergy between the executive and the legislature that led to the appropriation and release of funds for the procurement and distribution of vaccines in the last 2 years. Shoaib assured that all the vaccines procured for the national immunization exercise are certified safe and endorsed by the World Health Organization and the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC.
And same strategies that we're using to reach kids with routine immunization. And because we've been innovative, we've been creative, we're now at a point where we're just some 6 months away from being declared polio-free in Nigeria. This is an amazing time to be in Nigeria. So we're all excited about the progress that we've made.
Indeed, this is the Africa Vaccination Week. Sorry, I said Africa Immunization Week. Africa Vaccination Week. We're here to commemorate that week, but as the ED has said, we're also here to celebrate the week, to celebrate the vaccine heroes who are doing all the work, the medical officers, the administrators, all those out there in the field who are working to ensure that every child is well protected. We're also here to celebrate. We know there's still a lot of work to be done, but we're still here to celebrate the milestones being achieved in improving vaccine coverage. We've heard what the ED has said again on the vaccine coverage. WHO said last year, 2017, they had the greatest coverage in history. We've also heard the ED say that even the coverage in Nigeria has increased to 57%. And so part of what we're doing here this week is to celebrate these milestones.
It is our obligation to make sure our children get the necessary vaccines. It's the right of the child to get those vaccines. During this week, WHO is committed to working together with the government of Nigeria. I think in driving out some of the strategies to make sure children get the necessary vaccines in deserve, especially in low-performing states. WHO is also committed to ensuring that we have proper documentation during this period of the African Vaccination Week, and working with the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency to ensure that we have quality vaccination during this week.
The program manager, Roll Back Malaria in Cross River State, Dr. Asuko Ekwe, has described behavioral change as a panacea to malaria prevention and treatment in Nigeria. The program manager frowned at the attitude of many health workers who he said engage in sharp practices like selling commodities provided free by the government. Speaking on the commemoration of the World Malaria Day on Thursday in Calabar, Dr. Ekwe said on a yearly basis, the Rollback Malaria carried out community sensitization and awareness creation with an emphasis on behavioral change. Ekwe said, and I quote, "It is one thing to tell people to do something and another for them to actually do it," adding that malaria accounts for 15% of deaths among children under 5. Third to measles, which is number 1 in Nigeria, and that many pregnant women are also affected. End of quote. According to him, a lot of Nigerians think going for a test in a health center before treatment is a waste of time. In most cases, patent medicine dealers are more interested in their money. They feel they will lose their customers if they ask them to go for a test before treatment. He said this is worrisome because patent medicine dealers are supposed to know that government is collaborating with them to ensure that malaria is eliminated in Nigeria. Dr. Ekwe, who noted that based on clinical signs and symptoms, the treatment of malaria without proper tests is reducing in Cross River. He also expressed worry that many Nigerians hardly use malaria interventions provided by government for the prevention and treatment of malaria. The World Malaria Day is an international observance commemorated every April 25 to recognize global efforts to control malaria. The Nigerian Medical Association and the National Association of Nigerian Nurses and Midwives have expressed concern over the number of health workers that contacted Lassa fever while caring for patients across Nigeria. The National Center for Disease Control, NCDC, in its latest update on the disease, stated that since the outbreak of the disease in January 2019, 17 healthcare workers had been infected in 10 states, with 2 deaths recorded in Enugu and Edo states. Commenting on the statistics, the president of the NMA, Dr. Adedayo Faduile, said government and other employers in the health sector need to do more to protect caregivers, stressing that there is evidence that health workers had suffered occupational hazards in many hospitals. Dr. Faduile also said that apart from the records of death released by the NCDC, NMA lost 2 doctors in Kogi State to the disease in 2018. He said the government needs to put enough facilities like constant water supply for washing of hands in place at various hospitals to protect doctors, nurses, and other categories of health workers. The NMA president also recommended what he calls a barrier method of administering treatment as a precautionary method of managing such highly infectious diseases to reduce the risk of health workers contracting the disease. Also, Executive Secretary of Nam Shetima Ahmed said efforts made by the association to engage employers at all levels had not yielded results. He also said government needs to do more to protect nurses and midwives. The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, has alerted Nigerians of the recall of Losartan potassium tablet by its manufacturers. A statement by Professor Moji Adeyeye, NAFDAC's Director General, on Thursday revealed that the tablet manufactured by Hetero Labs Limited Unit API manufacturer was recalled after detection of some dangerous impurity. She said that the tablet was used for the treatment of high blood pressure and congestive heart failure. Adeyeye advised patients currently on the medication to meet their doctors for a possible change in medications. Patients should contact their doctor for further guidance and potential change of treatment before they stop taking the product. She encouraged health workers, professionals and patients to report adverse effects or side effects related to the use of these products to the nearest NAFDAC office. And you're watching Clearview Television News. We'll be back after this time out.
You guys are watching.
You're watching. Keep watching.
Clearview TV. Keep watching.
If you touch that button, you'll get Clear.
It's obvious that the station is clear.
If you're not watching Clear TV, that means you don't get light for your area. You are missing. Keep watching Clearview TV.
Welcome back. The House of Representatives has resolved to probe the $27 billion oil revenue loss to international oil companies since 1999 till date. The resolution was passed after the debate on the executive bill, which seeks to increase federal government's share of the revenue accruing from the oil trading. The committee was given 1 week to report back for further legislative action. This is just as lawmakers asked the leadership of the House for more time to enable them conduct adequate research towards passing a more beneficial amendment to the current Deep Offshore and Inland Basin Production Sharing Contract Act of 2004. Leading the debate, Deputy House Leader Ahmed Idris Wase urged members to, as a matter of urgency, give the bill all necessary support. However, Rep. Uzoma Nkemabonta of PDP from Abia cited Order 12 Sub-Rule 3, saying that he doesn't have a copy of the bill by way of compendium, which he would have used to prepare adequately for the debate, considering the importance of the bill. Advancing argument further, Deputy Speaker Lasun Yusuf urged the Speaker to allow the debate go on, and that more legislative days be set aside for debate to enable members exhaust their thoughts in the subject matter. Speaker Yakubu Dogara in his intervention told members that the said compendium had been sent to members' email addresses, adding that the bill was not just being slated for debate for the first time, as it was stood down some months back over the same reason. According to existing act authorizing the sharing formula, international oil companies are to drill crude and sell with the proceeds shared between them and the government on a 60-40 basis at $20 per barrel of crude. This, according to the House, means that the companies keep and have been keeping whatever excess revenue they generated arising from increase in the price of crude and share based on a $20 agreement, irrespective of the current prevailing market price. The Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, has denied claims that it owes the Rivers State government through the Internal Revenue Service 50 billion naira of unpaid taxes. NDDC Director of Corporate Affairs Charles Odili, in a statement in Port Harcourt, expressed surprise at the claims of RIRS, saying that the Commission's record revealed that the claim is incorrect. The statement made it clear that the NDDC, as a responsible corporate organization, has not defaulted in meeting its tax obligations to the Revenue Agency. The statement further observed that it is rather curious that the RIRS will rush to seal the gates of the Commission and disrupt activities at its headquarters without any form of notification. It noted that the Commission had cause to discuss its tax obligations with officials of the RIRS in past, and all the grey areas were resolved amicably. Accordingly, the Commission had on January this year settled its outstanding tax obligations to the RIRS, cleared all withholding taxes on enterprises and paid as-you-earn payee up to March 2019, including arrears. The NDDC therefore described actions seeking to question the reputation of an interventionist agency that is serving the people of the Niger Delta region as an act of bad faith on the part of the revenue agency. The statement therefore called on the RIRS to remove the sealing order on NDDC premises to enable both parties enter into dialogue and agree to resolve whatever differences that may exist, noting that it is not right for only one party to claim to have established that there is underpayment or overpayment. However, in a swift reaction, RIRS Chairman Adaogi Note said the sealing of the NDDC premises was based on a High Court order, saying that the management of the Commission is aware of the decision of the court in relation to the revenue accrued to the state from the agency. The federal government has been encouraged to deepen the process of monitoring and implementation of various programs to pull Nigerians out of the abyss of poverty and deprivation. Country Director Action Aid Nigeria Ene Obi, during the launch and dissemination of third-party monitoring report on the National Social Investment Program in Abuja, says the importance of a highly functional, efficient and effective social protection system for the citizenry, especially women and the girl child, cannot be overemphasized. Anita Patrick completes the story.
In Nigeria, over the years, there have been several attempts by governments to alleviate poverty and increase social safety nets for coverage for the country's poor and vulnerable, with little success. This, stakeholders say, should make governments approach social protection with improved systems and funding that could pull more Nigerians out of the poverty line. Action Aid Nigeria says third-party reports have shown an increase in school enrollment, empowerment of vulnerable members of the society and productive engagement of more youths. But as population and poverty pool continues to widen in the country, more still needs to be done.
To this end, Action Aid strongly recommends that the NSIO should ensure that relevant stakeholders are involved in the review, the redesign, the implementation and monitoring of the NSIP for better outcome from the community level down to the top. We're doing a lot at the community level at the moment, but we can do better. Careful and detailed consideration should be given to the criteria for appointing the state focal persons, because sometimes we have realized that certain things have come there. And the coordinators or the coordinating officers of the various programs within the NSIP, the selection process should be competitive enough to ensure that qualified and experienced applicants are appointed.
Meanwhile, the senior advisor to President Buhari on Social Investment Program, Miriam Uwais, says the dividends of the program is a testimony to the commitment of the Nigerian government to ensuring better standard of living for the Nigerian people.
We're feeding more than 9.5 million children at the moment. So, and we're feeding them through 101,000 cooks. They get their payments directly, not through any third party. We're in over 56,000 schools. We have also with I've spoken about the 4 programs. So all together, we have over 12 million direct beneficiaries. But if you talk about the farmers, every week we need at least 6.8 million eggs from the poultry farmers. We need more than 700 cattle. Don't talk about the chicken, the oranges, because of the balanced diet, and our menu is predicated upon what is available and affordable in that state.
We were and still remain determined to fashion another path that will bring development closer to the people and improve their living conditions. One of our strategies is to quickly revive confidence in the commitment of the Commission to facilitate sustainable regional development. And so, beyond being called to service, we are aware that the Niger Delta Development Commission must take surer steps.
Over the period covered by the reports being launched and disseminated, civil society organizations, community-based organizations, citizens groups, among others, with support from Action Aid, worked to ensure that the homegrown school feeding, job creation and power, and government enterprise and empowerment program benefited the beneficiaries. Annie T. Patrick, reporting for Clearview Television.
The Kwara State House of Assembly has passed a bill seeking to amend the State Local Government Amendment Law No. 3 of 2006. When assented into law, it will now be unconstitutional for the state governor to unilaterally dissolve democratically elected local government councils in that state. Speaking after the passage of the amendment bill into law, the Deputy Speaker, Chief Matthew Okedare, who presided over, directed the Clerk of the House, Halimat Jamai, to prepare a clean copy for Governor's assent, pointing out that the third tier of government is strategic for the accelerated socio-economic transformation of the state. The bill was sponsored by a member representing Okeogun State constituency, Kamal Fagbemi. During consideration of the general principles of the bill, Fagbemi urged his colleagues to ensure the passage of the bill, saying the amendment became imperative in view of the fact that the principal law was in consonance with the provisions of the 1999 Constitution. The lawmaker further averred that Section 7 of the 1999 Constitution guaranteed that local governments shall be governed democratically, stressing that the provisions of Section 18 of the State Local Government Law No. 3 of 2006 was not in tandem with the provisions of the 1999 Constitution as amended. Fagbemi, a lawyer, equally noted that the Supreme Court judgment in respect of dissolution of local government councils by Governor Kayode Fayemi of Ekiti State was illegal and unconstitutional, pointing out that the decision of the Supreme Court according to the 1999 Constitution shall be enforced in any part of the Federation by all authorities, persons and by courts of subordinate jurisdiction. Majority of the members said the current arrangement making local government councils appendages of state governments was against the wish of the nation's founding fathers that aimed to make local government administrations the third tier of government to fast-track grassroots development in the country. And also, the Ogun State House of Assembly has passed 3 bills seeking the renaming of 3 state-owned higher institutions. The institutions are Tai Shularing College of Education, Omuhi Jebu, to be known as Ogun State College of Education, Jiobore Omu, Ogun State College of Health Technology, Ilesha Jebu, to be known as Ogun State Polytechnic of Health and Allied Sciences, Ilesha Jebu, and Gateway Polytechnic, Igbesa, to be renamed Ogun Institute of Technology, Igbesa. Speaker of the State Assembly, Shuraju Adekumbi, said the renaming of the institutions is to enable them meet the present educational, administrative, and cultural realities of improved service delivery. Special Advisor to the President on Niger Delta and Coordinator of Presidential Amnesty Program, PAP, Professor Charles Dokubo, has called on youth from the Niger Delta region to look inward and initiate ideas that will change their lives and the entire region through the program. Dokubo made the call in Abuja while receiving a strategic document titled Ijo Youth Development Strategy and Action Plan 2019-2023, 9 Goals to Transform Ourselves and Our Future, produced by the Ijo Youth Consultative Forum, IYCF. The Amnesty boss, who said his door is open for development-driven initiatives, promised to create a platform for collaboration and exploration of the ideas and plans contained in the development plan, expected to be achieved within 4 years. He urged youths of the All-Rich region to initiate and profile responsive ideas, plans, programs and solutions to better their lives through the instrumentality of the federal government's amnesty program. Dokubo assured that the program under his watch will focus on job placement through aggressive pursuits of education, skills acquisition and empowerment for Niger Delta youths. Earlier, IYCF Executive Director Tonte Ibrahim said the group was formed and registered with the Corporate Affairs Commission (CAC) to work for the development of a Ijaw nation to the benefit of its youths. He noted that IYCF's strategic action plan is in line with both the federal government and United Nations policy on Sustainable Development Goals (SDG). The development strategy and action plan covers peace and security, education, health, environment, empowerment, job creation, agriculture, industrialization, and skills acquisition. Nigeria's Chief of Army Staff, General Tuku Buratai, has cautioned the media against glorifying terrorists and other criminal elements in the country. Speaking at the opening of the 2019 first quarter Chief of Army Staff Conference at the Command and Staff College, Jaji, in Kaduna State, Buratai said it is unpatriotic for the media and other Nigerians to glorify criminals, giving the impression that they are stronger than the army and other military agencies. According to him, undue publicity and praise-singing of the bandits and other criminal elements will only motivate them to commit more criminal acts at the detriment of the society. He stressed that in order to tackle the security challenges facing the country, there is need for credible intelligence and directed commanders to work closely with communities to decisively deal with terrorists, bandits, and other criminal gangs. The Army Chief therefore charged field commanders to relate with the society and other security agencies to bring the high rate of kidnapping, banditry, and attacks on villages leading to killings in Zamfara, Sokoto, Kaduna, and Katsina states to an end. General Buratai said the Nigerian Army had performed creditably in the first quarter of 2019 by turning the battle against Boko Haram terrorists in the northeast region. He also commended the Nigerian Army for the professional manner in which it supported civil authorities as part of its constitutional role to ensure the successful conduct of the 2019 election. Bauchi Police Command on Thursday followed the footsteps of other state police commands in launching a special operation codenamed Puff Arda to curb activities of criminals in the state. State Commissioner of Police Alhaji Ali Janga said at the occasion in Bauchi that the exercise will tackle the threat of political thugs, armed robbers and cultists, among other criminals. He said the operation would also prevent influx of criminal elements into the state from neighboring states. Janga explained that other sister security agencies and stakeholders will provide support in ensuring the success of the operation. The Commissioner also announced that the arrest of 39 suspects in connection with various crimes, adding that those arrested were undergoing interrogations. He therefore called on people of the state to support security agents with useful information on the hideouts of criminals. The Tiv Youth Council has called on Benue State government, traditional rulers and religious institutions to help end the ongoing communal clash between the Tivs and Jukuns in Taraba State. President of the group, Comrade Mike Mswan, also called on the federal government to quickly intervene to put a stop to bloodletting among the warring communities. In a statement made available to newsmen, Mswan called for the setting up of an independent commission of inquiry into the crisis to identify the sponsors and perpetrators, who should be made to face the full wrath of the law to serve as a deterrent to others. While commending security agencies for their intervention in the Tiv-Junkun crisis, he lamented that the violence had claimed lives in Benue State and called on the state government to not only stop killings but pay compensation to victims in the state. The communal crisis has claimed many lives, with many displaced after their homes were burned. Road traffic stakeholders have called on the general public to take caution even as they use the roads and while driving. Speaking at the launch of a book titled Driving Without Tears, the author Paul Bepe described driver's licensing permit as a life-saving document and not a money-making document, adding that all drivers must learn the basic rules before plying the roads. Clearview TV's Prudence Okona was there and now reports.
The Conference of Directors and Chief Road Traffic Officers of the Federation came together in Abuja this Thursday to advocate the need to promote safety on Nigerian roads. They also want the general public to learn the basics of driving. In a keynote address, the Chairman Transportation Commissioners Forum, Omar Essen, represented by Godwin Ikbo, says the promotion of safety is paramount in ensuring the well-being of both road users and drivers alike.
I can assure you today that we have finally gotten a well-documented yet simplified driving manual that will guide and improve the driving culture amongst drivers, which will translate to improved safety on our roads. For cultured driving in Nigeria by all motorists and proper driving education is the main reason for this book launch today. At this point, I want to stress that all participants, all applicants for driver's license and all driving schools operators in the country must study and know the 10 commandments of driving and practice them like the pastors would study the Bible or the imams, the Quran.
The Chairman Conference of Directors and Chief Road Traffic Officers, VIOs, Paul Biper, seized the opportunity to launch his book titled Driving Without Tears. The book evaluates the effects of road accidents on the productivity profile of the youths who are drivers of the Nigerian economy. Biper, an engineer, enjoyed all stakeholders to learn the basic rules of using the road, particularly driving codes and ethics.
The document they call driver license is not a money-making document. It's a life-saving document. That is what we stand for. The Conference of Directors and Chief Road Traffic Officers of the Federation stand for that. And that is why we insist that if you must get a driver license, both fresh and renewal, you must go through a test. That is why this book is launched. All the driving schools are here, the proprietors are here. If you must get a driver's license, you must go to the rudiments of knowing what you are driving. What you are driving is a vehicle. A vehicle is a madman invention that is subject to failure. And so if you are driving a vehicle, you must know little things about what makes up a vehicle. It's tailored in that book. If you are driving a vehicle, you must be able to know the rules governing the road.
The book reviewer KK Iloduba lamented that a lot of drivers are not adequately trained on road usage and recommended the book as a guide to all.
For the few who have had the opportunity to be trained, there's hardly been any recurrent literal materials to fall back to in respect of retraining. Obstinacy has become the order of the day in the traffic sector. The resultant effect is the unrivaled penchant of road traffic crashes on our roads and highways, driving without tears to the teeming motoring public.
Also at the event, 7 special road traffic mayors were decorated to participate in ensuring safety on the roads. Prudence Okonna reporting for Clearview Television.
And up next is our news commentary, which is on the misuse of the social media.
Social networking sites, which started from Orkut, followed by Twitter and Facebook, have become the vogue across the world, especially among the youth, because it makes communication easy, seamless, and extremely interactive. Just a few clicks and you can chat with friends and family from all across the globe. Facebook is perhaps the most popular social networking site, as it is one of the 2 most frequented websites in the entire internet. It usually trades places with Google as the most visited web service, and by the company's estimates, it now has over 800 million active users. That is more regular visitors than the entire internet had in 2004. As of June 2012, Facebook had over 955 million active users, more than half of them using it on mobile devices. Globally, there is an array of social media networks such as YouTube, Twitter, WhatsApp, Instagram to LinkedIn, Facebook, and a host of others. Being a platform that encourages unrestrained communication among users, social media produces the kind of fun that grabs people's attention. The opportunity it provides for users to unreservedly share ideas and disseminate information makes it trendy amongst a variety of people all over the world. Aside the opportunity it offers for unbridled communication, social media creates an unusual prospect for all manner of people to bond by sharing their thoughts online. Though such people might live in different parts of the world and might not even have the slightest chance of meeting in life, the bond that the social media state creates among them is quite astonishing. In short, social media offers an opportunity to be seen and be heard without any restriction, which the traditional media does not give. Today, our world has been radically transformed courtesy the social media. Information dissemination is now faster and easier, while genuine business transactions can be promoted through the medium for a vast global market. Undoubtedly, the social media has made our world a more exciting place to be. But then, that is where it all stops. The social media has unfortunately become an avenue for users to display and perpetrate unconcealed acts of boundless social madness. And in the social media, there is little or no regard for opposing views. Users simply exhibit mind-boggling, bigoted stance to contrasting viewpoints from fellow users. Aside this, the social media sometimes flourishes on falsehood. On many occasions, the genuineness of information posted on the media is suspicious. While conventional media tradition processes and scrutinizes news gathering and dissemination, and thus exercises control in addition to operating a feedback mechanism which gives room for refutation when practitioners erred. The social media affords faceless people the stage to send conniving and spurious information. Sadly, those that practice this usually get away with it, since there is no compelling process or law to insist on confutation. The result of this, of course, is unlimited madness on the social media space. Someone with no concrete substantiation comes up with a story, puts it on the social space, and before you could say jack, the whole space becomes animated, discussing and sometimes freely passing judgments on certain characters based on the strength of such an unsubstantiated story. And at the end of the day, the victims of such misleading information are faced with the task of responding to issues that never existed. Thus, as useful as the social media is, its abuse can be menacing. The use of a tool likely depends on the users. For instance, a doctor operates with a knife, while a murderer could also kill with a knife. For users of the social media, especially the youth, the watchword therefore is cautiousness. Meanwhile, parents, NGOs, religious organizations, related government agencies, educational institutions, and all other concerned stakeholders are enjoined to take active interest in taking up advocacy crusades aimed at curbing the excesses of the social media. Though it is practically impossible to impose barriers on the cyberspace, but with the active participation of major stakeholders, including Clearview, together we could tone down the negative effects of the social media.
And just before we go on the news, let's remind you of the stories that made headlines. President Muhammad Buhari has proceeded to the United Kingdom on a 10-day private visit after his official visit to Borno State on Thursday. The House of Representatives has resolved to probe the $27 billion oil revenue loss to international oil companies since 1999 till date. And we also told you that former U.S. Vice President Joe Biden has declared his intention to run for the 2020 U.S. presidential election, putting an end to months of speculation. That's the news, but remember that you can subscribe to our YouTube channel via Clearview Television. Like us on Facebook via Clearview Television Online. Follow us on Twitter at Clearview Online, Instagram at Clearview TV_NG. And you can also watch Clearview TV on NACHCOMSAT with any free-to-air decoder. For details, contact your local installer. I am Nten Ekpang. Many thanks for watching.